The narrative, of course, going into this weekend was Kylian Mbappe starting for Real Madrid and Barcelona. How are they going to cope this season under Hansi Flick? And Alex, a good start, going to Mestalla, getting that 2-1 win, obviously outplayed in the first half. Lewandowski very much proving to be the difference between the two sides. A young centre midfield pairing that worked for Barcelona. I imagine a bit of a sigh of relief from Hansi Flick.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think there's still a lot of things we don't know about this Barcelona team, about how they're going to look under Flick. Again, another team that don't look like the finished article. Yes, they got the win against the Valencia team that were pretty poor, and there were some encouraging signs. It's good news that Lewandowski is still scoring goals, because there's been some talk about, is he in decline or not over the last year? Great news to have two youngsters starting in midfield and performing so well. But yeah, like there's still some question marks, and the team doesn't feel like it's quite kind of settled yet. And you can't really, I'm not sure how many really stark differences you can see in this Barcelona performance, this team right now, and sort of the Xavi team at the end of last season. I'm not sure how many real clear differences there are yet. I'm sure they will come. I'm sure they will come over time, but between Flick's Barca and Xavi's Barca. But no, bottom line, a good start to get a win away from home, especially given the makeup of the team. And like I say, those youngsters in the middle of the park in particular, to go to a place like Mestalla and get a result, that is good news.
And it was hot. It was hot in Valencia, wasn't it, Ian? We saw that from the players on the pitch. We saw it as well from your co-commentator. I don't think I've ever seen anyone sweat as much as Stuart Robson was ahead of the game, Ian.
Well, I think we were both down to middleweight by the end of the it was that hot. I mean, it was difficult. I think we were semi-conscious for about the last 10 minutes of that. But going back to the game, yeah, I mean, there was no Gavi. He won't be back till November. Araujo's out at the moment. Pedri, only a sub, just fit again. Frankie de Jong missing as well. And, of course, Dani Olmo, I'm not sure what the situation is. Other people may be better informed than me. Is he not registered yet, or is he not ready yet? Maybe both. But it's a very different Barcelona team that it's going to be come November time than the one we saw yesterday. I thought Casado was fantastic for Barcelona. What a great youngster to have coming through, and Bernal as well to a lesser extent. Lovely left foot. So they've still got all the talent coming through, and of course they need that with their financial problems at the moment. But yeah, it is a great win for them to go to the Mestalla with that depleted side and get the 3 points.
Alex, let's talk about Ilkay Gundogan, shall we? What's going on?
Yeah, it's a strange one. It seems like a strange one given that he's a good player. A player had a pretty good season, I think, last year. Not an exceptional season, but a good season, contributed regularly. And now the talk is that he might well be off. We think this is something that's come from the club. And it makes a kind of sense from Barca's point of view, because they've brought in Dani Olmo, spent a lot of money on a creative player, a player who'll play in the number 10 position. And Olmo's not the only one they've got there. You know, you've got Pedri, you've got Gavi coming back, Gundogan, another player playing in that position. And if Flick's impression so far is that Gundogan is not going to be a regular starter for this team, and that's been communicated to Gundogan, then maybe the best scenario for everybody is for him as a really high earner. Ian mentions the financial issues. They could really do with getting those wages off the books, would help them register Dani Olmo and a few others. Maybe it would make a kind of sense. Now, there's a lot of things that still need to happen in terms of where might Gundogan go. It has to be the right destination for him. It has to be the right kind of deal as well. It would have to probably be on a free transfer to make it work for all parties. It's not like Gundogan is desperate to leave. I think he wanted to go to Barcelona. I was going to say he's been happy at Barcelona. He has seemed sort of quite annoyed a lot of the time at Barcelona, mostly by his teammates and what they've been getting up to on the pitch. But I think he wants to be there. But like I say, we think it's coming.
It's interesting what Alex says there before he turned into mush. You look at Gundogan. Had to go at the youngsters after they lost against Real Madrid in the Clásico, so they weren't sad enough. Obviously, wasn't shy in having to go at Araujo when he got sent off in the PSG game in the Champions League. There has been that bubbling frustration. So you can understand maybe from both parties, it might be best to separate, but the big question is where, and people are putting 2 and 2 together and putting Manchester City.
Right, and, well, let's focus on Barcelona for now, if you're Ilkay Gundogan and that situation. Well, Alex is making all the points, and I understand where he's coming from. I don't think there is a coincidence there. I don't think it's an accident that a guy who has been openly critical of things that are going on in the locker room young players, as you just mentioned, Araujo as well, that clearly has been frustrated with some of the attitude and behavior of his teammates and has been critical out loud, out in the open. I don't think it's an accident that all of a sudden this guy, once he becomes vulnerable and is exposed, that he's being pushed out the door, right? It's just the dynamics of a locker room. And if you're going to talk and if you're going to run your mouth the way that Gundogan has, you better make sure that you are fully and wholly protected, that you have people around you that are going to protect you, and that you have the respect of a locker room. But the truth of the matter is that he wasn't in Barcelona long enough to be that guy, to have that sort of power. And so what has happened is I think he played a card that nobody else was playing with him, and now another player has come in and it becomes all too convenient to say, Ilkay, thanks for your services, take care, goodbye.
What would you do if you were him? Say you had an offer from Saudi Arabia, big money, or a chance to go back to Manchester City?
Well, he's 33. I think you just take the money.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Can I just add, though, I think this is Barcelona's loss.
Right.
More than anybody else. Because you look at this Barcelona squad and you look at the team on the field, you need players with experience and guidance. And somebody speaking up and putting them in their place. And
oh, he wasn't wrong, by the way.
no, he wasn't.
It's just the manner in which he did it, I think.
Yeah, but you need players like that in the dressing room and on the field as well. I mean, that team we put up there before, and as good as Casado was, and Bernal did well, and you got Baldi just coming back, Kubasi at the back. I mean, Lamine Yamal is now being relied upon to win them the league. This is a young, inexperienced team, big time, really. And if you're going to lose somebody like Gundogan out of the dressing room and out of that squad, regardless of whether a couple of people are not happy with him, I think that's to the detriment of Barcelona. Barcelona ain't going to win the league, in my opinion, playing all these kids between now and next, what, May? I don't see it happening.
Ian?
Well, they had 3 17-year-olds in the lineup. I mean, they are exceptionally gifted, all these youngsters that are being brought in. They're not just ordinary 17-year-olds, but I think Stevie's right. They're not going to win the title with them. I agree with them. I think Gundogan is a really good presence to have around. Okay, he's rocked the boat a little bit with some of the things that he said, but he's got this winning mentality he's brought from his previous clubs, particularly at Manchester City. It wouldn't be the biggest shock to me in the world if he did go back to Manchester City. They loved him there. He came up with important goals. He's an old head. He's clever. And there's probably still a role for him because they've been looking for another midfield player to come in there so that Rodri doesn't have to play game after game after game all the way through the season. OK, Gundogan isn't a number 6 like he is, but he's another clever head in midfield. So, you know, that may be not such a far-fetched story. We'll find out more in the next day or two, I think.
Yeah, we most certainly do. Of course, the transfer window closes at the end of the month. So thank you very much to Alex. And as always, it's wonderful, reliable internet.